Okay, so this will be like the part 2 of this video. And in this video, we'll be trying to look at fractions in the matter of ratios. Sometimes questions can be given to you that are under fractions, but essentially testing your knowledge of what? Ratios. What is a ratio? A ratio simply talks about relating two quantities. A ratio is also a fraction, relating two quantities such that one quantity is related to the other. How does this work? For instance, if I have, essentially, the quantities we're looking at must be the same. So if I want to I want to consider how much two persons have gotten. For instance, I've given one person 2 naira and I've given another person 3 naira. How do I explain ratio in this context? I want to see what is the relationship between the person who has taken 2 naira with that of 3 naira. Now let's look at that. I gave Musa 5 naira. This is another hypothesis. And I gave Wilson 10 naira. Now, what's the ratio? What's connecting this? The ratio will simply be, so usually we say the ratio of Musa to Wilson will be what? 5. The first person is to the what? Second person. So usually the first person is related to the second person. And what's important in ratio is that you must always check to ensure that it is always written in its lowest term. So this will be 1:2 because I see that 5 can divide both. So this is the statement of what a ratio is. Remember that the idea of this course is not to thoroughly explain the concept, but to use knowledge you already have to be able to tackle other problems. So what's a ratio? In a ratio, we're trying to relate two quantities that are the same. It's different from another concept we call rates. In rates, we are trying to relate two concepts that are not the same. So in ratio, we're relating two concepts that are the same, such that we want to find out what is the, how well is one person relating with another. We saw that in the example given, Musa and Wilson. Musa had 5 naira, Wilson had 10 naira. So the ratio will mean that Musa is taking 1 as compared to Wilson taking 2. What's the implication? It means for every 1 naira Musa is getting, Wilson will get what? 2 naira. That's the implication. And that's ratio for you. So let's solve some problems and see how this plays out. We're still on page 43 of our text, the New General Mathematics for SS1 grade 10. We will look at question number 11. It gives us an idea of what to do. All right, so let's take a few of the questions there. Now look at number 1. Question 11, the A says, in each of the following questions, in each question, express the first, okay, maybe I should write that on the board. In each of the following questions, express the first quantity, as a fraction of the second one. Now, the other instruction says give your answer, or give the fractions, in its lowest terms. All right, so every time we handle a question on that ratio, we're expected to give the answer in its what? Lowest term. So the first one given to me here, A, says 15 seconds of 1 minute. So this is also a build up from the last question rather that we had solved, or last set of questions we had solved. Now look at this. First thing, we need to convert 1 minute to seconds. Remember we said the units description must be the same. Seconds and minutes relates to time, but you must bring them to a common denominator. Usually we bring them to the lowest denominator. They define the denominator, meaning seconds. So 1 minute will be equal to 60 seconds. Is that not? So I will now express in ratio that this will be 15 seconds is to what? 60 seconds. Are we together? Now, you understand much later when I solve under this, once I've done the conversion, that you will not be seeing these units anymore because technically the units are the same. So there's no basis for discretion with the units. I will then divide. I can divide with 3, I'll get 5. Divide with 3, I'll get 20. Divide with 5, I'll get 1. Divide with 5, I'll get 4. So my final answer is 1:4. So that's what is going to be. The description of a ratio is 1:4. We can also write this as a fraction. It can also be 1/4. We can write this as 1/4. It's still the same thing because a ratio technically is also a fraction, right? So with that done, I will pick one other question and see how that plays out. Let me pick question C here that says, I'll call that B, purpose of narration. Or let's call it C. It says 10 minutes or 10 minutes, then 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours. 1.5 hours. So how do we solve that? How do we handle that? Quite simple. We must convert 1.5 hours to minutes. That's the first thing we need to do. So we know that 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. Please, when you're solving problems of this nature, don't be in a hurry. Take time. Take time to do it. As you keep doing it, you're sharpening your processor to help you solve problems quickly. Now, I'll convert this to a proper fraction. See where the ideas are coming in now. There are two ways we express a mixed fraction. We can either express a mixed fraction as a mixed fraction or as a proper, as what? An improper fraction. Okay, so we will convert this to a proper fraction, and this will be what? 2 times 1 plus 1. That's 3. So 1.5 is equal to 3/2. Which will be equal to what? 3/2, or let's put in hours. Hours will be equal to 3/2 hours, which will be equal to 3/2 times, what is 1 hour? 1 hour is 60 minutes. So 30. And this will give me what? 90 minutes. Now, we will now relate. So this problem now, where I have this now, I will now write 10 minutes, comma what? 90 minutes. So I'm going to write it as a ratio now. It's going to be what? 10 minutes is to 90 minutes. So this, I don't need these terms anymore because we said that in a ratio, the terms are the same. Now, I will now divide. Now, look at this very well. You discover this multiplied by 10, this multiplied by 10. So I just divide with 10. And my final answer becomes 1:9. Beyond getting your answer, you must know the interpretation of this. It means for every 1 this person gets, the first person gets, this person is going to get 2. We're going to get, 9. Understand that. For the first question we solved, for every 1 this first person gets, it means that this person is going to get 4 times that 1. So it's not just to solve the problems and get the answers. You must understand the implication of the answers you're getting. Every time you solve a problem, understand the implications of what you have solved. So that will sum up our pack on this part of fractions. The other aspects we're going to explore too, because it's important to explore different aspects of fractions so that decimals and the like, so that when we see them in exam setup, we know when to use them. We should be able to identify them and, more importantly, know how to use them. All right, thank you for your time this morning. Our class will continue subsequently, but I want you to go back and watch this, and then don't forget to drop a comment after this time out.